I think the government's coming after Uniswap, and I think that that's important. I think it's naive to think that they're not. And I want to talk about why I think the government could attack Uniswap and or Ethereum 2.0, the entire decentralized finance space. And I'm going to talk about what I think that we should do with understanding that that's possible. Now, keep in mind, I've been talking about for a while that I expect a massive bear market to come. I believe that cryptocurrency is going to be either made illegal in the US or throughout most of the developed world, or I think cryptocurrency is going to be made very difficult to transact with. They'll make it much more difficult to be able to buy and to be able to sell. In fact, that's probably most likely what's going to happen before they make it outright illegal, because it's far easier for them to make it more difficult to transact with. And I know you may think I'm crazy if you're not familiar with the government's relationship with finance. Governments don't like competition. And right now, I think that decentralized finance is entirely too successful. Look at this article. This is from yesterday. DeFi craze propels Uniswap monthly volume to 15.3 billion, surpassing Coinbase. Now, Coinbase is currently I guess you could say a regulated exchange for buying cryptocurrency, and it's probably one of the largest, at least in the US, based on total volume amount. But now it's been surpassed by Uniswap, and that's a big deal. And we're going to be talking about why it's a big deal here in a moment. But first, Uniswap processed 15.3 billion with the B in monthly volume in September, outpacing Coinbase, signaling that DeFi is here to stay. Now, I think there's a huge opportunity here if we're aware of the opportunity. I think there's a massive opportunity for the little guy and the little gal. So hang tight. I'll explain that in a moment. Data from Dune Analytics shows that in the month of September, Uniswap's decentralized exchange processed 15.371 billion, 15.371 billion in volume. In the same period, reports indicate that Coinbase processed 13.6 billion. The significant spike in Uniswap's volume can be attributed to two major factors. First, the explosive growth of decentralized finance, known as DeFi, and yield farming of governance tokens caused decentralized exchanges to thrive. Second, the launch of Uniswap's governance token Uni led to a frenzy on the platform. June marked the start of a frenzy in DeFi governance tokens, with Compound's token kickstarting the phenomena. The process is relatively simple. DeFi users farm new governance tokens by staking various cryptocurrencies such as Ether. DeFi protocols that release their underlying governance tokens in a decentralized manner distribute them over time to users who stake. Once users successfully farm the new tokens, they typically hold them until they can be sold at centralized exchanges, but sometimes the token's market cap is too small. Top cryptocurrency exchanges have to consider various factors before listing, yada, yada, yada. Is DEX decentralized exchange? Is DEX volume a one-off or a trend? Uniswap first surpassed Coinbase Pro in daily volume August 30th. Since then, it has continuously remained competitive with the top US exchange. In late August, Uniswap creator Hayden Adams said, "Wow, Uniswap 24-hour volume is higher than Coinbase for the first time ever. Uniswap 426 million, Coinbase 348 million. Hard to express with how crazy this is." The consistently high volume from Uniswap occurred despite a considerable slowdown in yield farming and the governance token craze. This suggests that the uptrend of decentralized exchanges maintaining high volume is sustainable over the long term. Okay, let's talk about this. Why is this a problem? Now, let me be clear. I like seeing this. I've said on this channel before, I think there's only two things that we need to make cryptocurrency practically unstoppable. One is decentralized exchanges and good working atomic swaps. Atomic swap is where you can trade Ethereum for Bitcoin basically in one transaction without having to convert from one to the other. Right now, you have to convert your Ethereum to Bitcoin to buy or sell Bitcoin, or you have to convert. You can't just trade, those of you familiar with SimpleSwap, for example. SimpleSwap is done through a centralized entity, but imagine something like SimpleSwap where you can send Bitcoin but get back Tron, or send Tron and get back Ethereum, for example, and do it in a way that is totally decentralized. That's going to be incredible technology, and I hope it gets here quickly, because I think DeFi has to be in the government's crosshairs right now. And the reason I say this, I'm not just making this up, and I'm not trying to FUD the space. I think it's important that if you're in cryptocurrency, that you understand that there is a massive bear market that is most likely on the way. That's why I think it's important to dollar cost average over time, because no one has a crystal ball. But here's what we know for certain. We know that was it last year? Let me see. The Securities Exchange Commission has charged Zachary Coburn, the founder of crypto token trading platform EtherDelta, with operating an unregistered securities exchange. This was a decentralized exchange that he had created. Now he got off with a slap on the wrist, and I think they were basically making an example out of him. And I say he got off with a slap on the wrist. I have oftentimes wondered about this because literally what they accused him of was extraordinary if you read the entire article, but they only charged him like $300 million. I mean, I'm sorry, 300,000. Sorry, 300,000. And I'm like, that's a slap on the wrist for him. However, I always wondered, so did he turn government witness? Maybe I'm just being a little bit of a conspiracy theorist on that one. You let me know down in the comments what you think. But he quickly basically folded, gave up shop, quit, whatever. And EtherDelta, I mean, I'm not even sure what came of it. I'm not even sure if it's still around at all. He got fined. They came after EtherDelta. Now you've got something like Uniswap, which is decentralized ERC20 tokens doing massive volume, competing with the formal exchanges like Coinbase that are having to follow strict government regulation. Where Uniswap, there's no KYC AML, it's all decentralized. Now, you're probably like, yes, but it's decentralized. There's no central entity to come after. But what they do, just like in this case, they go after the creator. Who created it? Who wrote the code? Whose idea was it? And listen, that's not fair, but that's simply what has happened. Now, I do think there's massive opportunity here. I'll get to that in a minute, but I want to point this out. If you aren't aware of this, decentralized finance, look, 10 billion, almost 11 billion dollars worth of cryptocurrency. And it's amazing how many people don't even know about cryptocurrency yet. Like, isn't that staggering? Isn't it interesting to think that you and I are sitting here talking about things like decentralized finance, and greater than 95% of the humans walking around this planet have no idea what decentralized finance is, yet it's big enough for there to be $10 billion. I mean, that's, okay. And I know you're thinking wealth. I mean, I feel like you're saying there's an opportunity, but you're saying that there's a major risk of the market, becoming attacked or collapsing because of some sort of government entity coming after creators and founders. And that's exactly what I'm saying. I think that's going to happen first. But I think that understanding how big the market is tells us how much potential, how much desire for this market. And I think this is the size of the market is the most promising thing for what's to come. Now, with that being said, if the government comes after these platforms, I mean, most people are just going to fold. I mean, I know I would. I'm not going to try to fight the government all alone. No one's going to stand behind you. Unfortunately, most people are in crypto not for principle. They're just in crypto to try to make money. And that's awesome because there's a lot of opportunities to make money in cryptocurrency. So how do you make money with what's coming up? First of all, if I was the creator of Uniswap, if I was Hayden Adams right now, I would make certain that I had a very good cryptocurrency attorney. I would make absolute certain that I had a very good cryptocurrency attorney. Specifically, if I'm profiting off of this in any large amount, but I would still make sure that I had a good attorney, and I would at least be prepared because I think the government is going to be hot on their trail. And if you think, I want to address this, I know some of my viewers may be thinking, yes, but Uniswap's been around for a really long time, and it has. I think it's 2017 that it's been around. Uniswap's, in fact, I pulled this up. Let me see. Uniswap, it was an idea in 2016. Vitalik and Ethereum Foundation donated $100,000. Uniswap launched in 2018. So it's been around for a couple of years now, which 2 years is a lifetime in crypto. If you think that just because it's been around 2 years, it doesn't mean that there's not, the government's not paying attention. You've got to understand. In fact, we just saw this news story showing up a minute ago. Where was it at? Right here. Breaking news, John McAfee arrested in Spain on criminal charges. This is all about the ICO stuff that he did like a couple of years ago. I mean, they didn't just now announce this. I mean, the government moves slow, but they're persistent and diligent. So they've been working on this behind the scenes for months and months and months coming after McAfee. And the biggest issue is he was promoting these ICOs and he wasn't disclosing that they were paying him, basically. Whether you agree or disagree with that, whether you agree or disagree with, the government coming after him, that's neither here nor there. The point is, the government takes months and months and sometimes years to make a case. They're very slow, but they don't ever give up. They've got people getting paid basically on taxpayer money just to create this case. So they're in no hurry. So they're going to create a case. So I do think DeFi, I would not want to be in charge of a DeFi project right now at all, any DeFi project, because I think you run the risk if you're successful. Again, it only typically happens when you're successful. You got to be a big enough target. But when you're successful, you're in the government's crosshairs. So knowing that this is going to happen, how do you benefit from this? Well, here's the bottom line. At some point, the market tanks. Ethereum is Ethereum 2.0 is coming out. Ethereum's at what, $300 and $350 per Ethereum right now. At some point, if the government attacks DeFi or attacks crypto in general, let's say the government says, they don't want competition. That's what people don't understand. The government doesn't want competition. So let's just say they say, hey, you can no longer buy cryptocurrency with any electronic means through the banking system, meaning you can't use a bank wire, transfer it anywhere to buy cryptocurrency. Like you can't transfer to a cryptocurrency exchange, and they can do that. They did that with online poker back, I think, in 2015 or something. So they can absolutely do that. Or they'll say you can't use any credit cards, any debit cards at all to purchase any cryptocurrency anywhere. Governments can easily do that. They can create laws. So they don't have to come after you directly. They can create laws that make it difficult. If that happens and they go on record and say that they're going to do that, let's just say they come out with the U.S. government-backed centralized digital dollar. And all other cryptocurrencies, just like now, all other currencies, you can't go create a currency. You can't just go to your basement and say, hey, we live in, an awesome neighborhood anywhere in America. So we're going to create the awesome dollar to use inside of our neighborhood. This is our currency to use in our neighborhood. You can't do that. That's illegal. So very easily the U.S. government could say, hey, this is a digital dollar. This is the only digital currency that can be used as currency. So there's no trading, there's no bartering any other cryptocurrencies for anything of value. That can be a law. And people act like that can't happen. It can happen. Now, if that does happen, it doesn't mean that people still couldn't transact in it, just like it's illegal to drive more than 55 miles an hour. But it doesn't mean that people still don't drive 56 miles an hour. And so that's why I always say cryptocurrency equals freedom, because at some point with decentralized exchanges and atomic swaps, at some point people decide, I'm tired of the government financial system, so we're going to use decentralized products and push. And now the government can't arrest everyone in every way. And at some point, people can still use things like local Bitcoin, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not advocating breaking the law. I'm just saying that when people get ready to do that, should they choose to do that, it can happen. The government can never fully stop it. And so I believe that cryptocurrency equals freedom, because I believe that one of the last revolutions that we'll have in modern society, or at least the next major revolution we'll have in modern society, is going to be a peaceful financial revolution. I believe that people will ultimately rise up and choose to use decentralized currencies. Now, I don't know if that happens in the next 3 years, the next 5 years, or the next 50 years, but I think it's going to happen for sure. I feel 100% confident that that's going to happen. Not financial advice, but I feel 100% confident that that's going to happen. However, before that happens, cryptocurrency is under attack. DeFi is going to be under attack. And I think the DeFi thing is going to happen. We'll hear news about this, I think, within the next 3 years, maybe in the next year, just maybe the next 6 months. So how do you navigate around this? First of all, you need to understand this creates a massive opportunity. If, let's, for example, say the government goes after DeFi. And I actually think DeFi is more of a target than, say, for example, Bitcoin, because there's creator. People will say, how come Satoshi's anonymous? Because no one can go after him. He's anonymous. No one knows who he is. Satoshi Nakamoto. He's anonymous. But people know who Ethereum is. Vitalik. People know who Vitalik is. All of these DeFi projects have development teams behind them. Most of them are public. And so they can, the government can pursue them should they choose to. And I think it's more likely they're going to go after decentralized finance, because there's a lot of products in decentralized finance that directly compete. Think about that. With various banking products and various traditional investments. And the old guard, people like to say, yes, but hedge funds are moving into crypto, yada, yada. Yes, but just a small amount. The financial, the financial system is still primarily in centralized traditional currencies and traditional investments and financial instruments by, crypto's like nothing compared to the traditional markets. So the big boys, so to speak, are still in the traditional markets. And I believe at first they're going to fight the digital markets. They're going to fight cryptocurrency, decentralized markets, decentralized cryptocurrency. And I believe the way they're going to fight is through lobbying Congress for laws. And I actually think that the government's going to have to. Listen, we're in a financial system that is going to collapse. There's no way that it doesn't collapse. You do understand that, right? If you don't understand, you have to do some research. And I have to ask, if you don't realize it's going to collapse, what the heck are you doing in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general? I mean, cryptocurrency was created because the founders, many of them knew and understood. And when I say the founders, I mean the early developers. Those people understood that we're in a debt-based society that is essentially a Ponzi scheme that falls. The government takes on more and more debt. They have to print more and more money to cover their debt. You understand the tax revenues are supposed to cover the debt. Our tax revenues barely cover the interest on our debt, much less the amount of debt. This year alone, with everything going on, people getting sick, I mean, we've got, 26 trillion plus, about to hit 27 trillion. In fact, I think we hit 27 trillion yesterday in national debt. That doesn't get paid back. So there's going to have to be an alternative. The government always wants to control the issuance of money. Who was it? There's a famous quote that says, "Let me issue a country's money and I care not who makes its laws." So governments want to control the issuance of the money one way or another, whether it's through a central bank and their relationship with the central bank, or if they directly want to print and control the money. So they're not going to be like, oh, our system failed. Let's go. This is good for the people, even though a decentralized financial system is good for people. Oh, this is good for the people. No, the first thing they're going to do is create a digital asset. And then sooner or later, the people will revolt. And I think the government's going to become fearful. Or what we may see, just like we've seen central banks, kind of compete and buy up gold. We may see countries start buying up things like Bitcoin and Ethereum because they expect competition. They're basically cutting each other off. It's like the U.S. government's like, oh, I think China, they have their own digital currency. We're talking about at some point in the future. But they might start buying up that Bitcoin. They might start buying up that Ethereum just in case. Well, if that's the case, then the U.S. government might be like, you know what? Just in case, we're going to buy up our own Ethereum. We're going to buy up our own Bitcoin. And they might start stockpiling. If that happens, the price alone from central banks buying up cryptocurrency, decentralized cryptocurrency assets could go, those prices could go sky high. But at some point, the average citizen on the street says, listen, the value of my digital dollars keeps fluctuating and I can't control the value. And my 100 digital dollars used to buy something, but now it takes 1,000 digital dollars to buy the same thing because the government keeps, printing more. And there's no accountability to how much they're going to print and how they're going to issue it. Meaning the current financial system that we're in is going to repeat itself. It's just going to do it in a digital market. So when the average citizen gets tired of that, whether it's a U.S. citizen or a Japanese citizen or Chinese citizen, it doesn't matter. Australian citizen, it doesn't matter. At some point, more and more people are going to start using decentralized cryptocurrencies. I truly believe that. And so what you need to be doing is you need to understand that there is a massive bear market coming. We could see 90% or more in the prices collapse at some point in the future. That could be 3 months, 3 years, who knows? But you don't worry about that. If you understand the fundamentals and you understand long term, the price should go sky high. So knowing that a bear market is coming, that prevents you from, using your life savings to go into cryptocurrency, which you should never do anyway, because this is such a risky asset. But like in the DeFi space, should you be jumping around to the next DeFi project, the next DeFi project, the next DeFi project? Probably not. What's more prudent is probably just buying Ethereum. Dollar cost average a little bit of Ethereum because you're like, DeFi is strong. If you believe that. Dollar cost average, buy Ethereum. Why? Because Ethereum 2.0 comes out. All this does just creates a greater demand for Ethereum or whatever DeFi coins are out there. If you like a certain DeFi coin, you think it has longevity, you're probably better off just to buy that coin. But understand, I wouldn't, bet the farm on it because you don't know what's going to happen long term. And all of these assets are probably going to drop at some point significantly when they come under government scrutiny, and they will come under government scrutiny. Absolutely. No question about it. However, you want to be buying now and you want to be buying then, because imagine, don't you wish Bitcoin's at $10,000? Don't you wish you could have bought it when it was under 1,000? Guess what? I believe there's a strong possibility you might be able to buy it under 1,000 again one day. I fully believe that when it comes under attack. But with that being said, dollar cost average in now. I like to talk about passive income investments. Use those passive income investments. People say, why do you use things like the Crypto Tab browser? Why do you you do all these little things? Why do you have this whole Crypto Passive Profits newsletter? It's a way to earn cryptocurrency for free. You can subscribe down in the description. It's a way to earn a little bit of free cryptocurrency doing what you're doing every day. I just had someone who's a part of our monthly membership. He's a paid member of our our Crypto Passive Profits course. He just said in the past 4 days, he made $2 and some change using the Crypto Tab browser. He said that's with no referrals. Now, if you take this thing to the next level and you build a business with it, that's a game changer. But why am I willing to earn Satoshis now worth, $3, $4, $5 in a month? Because I believe long term, after the next bear market, these, $4 or $5 worth of Satoshi just for, surfing the internet, one day could be $15 or $50, or who knows, maybe $500 worth of Satoshi. Dollar cost average. No, the bottom is probably still to come, or a major bottom or major bear market is still to come. But understand cryptocurrency and see for yourself if you think the fundamentals has longevity for the future. Because I believe the greatest revolution is yet to come. Cryptocurrency equals freedom. This is Crypto Wealth. I'm out.